Okay, so let's dive into this classic horror scenario. You've got 7 friends, a super remote house, and yeah, things are definitely going bump in the night. But their reaction? It's anything but a classic survival guide. Honestly, it's more like a masterclass in what not to do. So after flickering lights, a painting that moves on its own, and a whole bunch of other creepy stuff, this is the terrifying realization that finally hits the group. It means we are not alone in this house. This is the exact moment the fear gets very, very real.
And for a brief shining moment, everyone is on the exact same page. There's a ghost. But of course, this rare moment of unity immediately shatters, kicking off this spectacular spiral of incompetence that makes you wonder how they even found the house in the first place.
So let's start at the beginning with their first major problem. The house is giving off every single classic haunted vibe you can imagine, and the evidence is piling up fast. I mean, the signs are all there, right? It's like they're ticking off a horror movie checklist. You've got the flickering lights, a self-moving painting, tech glitches, they even see a toll gate opening for an invisible car, and a scarecrow that just appears out of nowhere on the roof. For most of them, this is undeniable proof. And here we have their first major obstacle. You know, every horror movie has one. The resident skeptic. Jasu is absolutely convinced it's all just another elaborate prank at his expense. He's yelling things like, "For 10 years you've been doing this," and starts listing off all the other cities where they've apparently pulled these pranks before. Which, brings us to our first survival lesson. Arguing with a skeptic while the paranormal is actively happening is a terrible use of your time.
Okay, so once they finally get past the denial stage, their focus shifts from, survival to psychoanalysis. They don't just accept that the ghost exists, they try to figure out its generational identity, and that leads to a truly unique theory.
Instead of being scared, one of them, Kartik, starts profiling their haunter, and his logic is, wow, it's something else. He figures since it moved a painting, it must be an aesthetic artist. It glitched their tech, so clearly it's tech-savvy. It yelled from outside, which obviously makes it an attention seeker, and because it hasn't revealed its face, his final conclusion is, they're dealing with a Gen Z ghost. So their counter-strategy is just as bizarre. Based on this fact that ghosts can hear but not read, they decide to outsmart their supposedly tech-savvy haunter by passing handwritten notes. And to be extra safe, they decide to write in terrible handwriting, just in case the ghost also happens to be a doctor. Well, the plan immediately and spectacularly fails. The handwriting is so bad that one of them misreads the word barasa, which means faith, as a really vulgar insult, and reads it out loud. So they end up yelling the very thing they were trying to hide from the ghost they believe is listening to their every word. Lesson 2, overthinking the problem can be even dumber than ignoring it.
So, realizing their ghost profiling isn't helping, shocker, they finally decide on the most logical course of action: get out of the house. As you can probably guess, this proves to be their greatest challenge yet.
Their simple plan to just escape is thwarted at every single turn. First, both of their cars break down. Then they realize there's no cell service, no Wi-Fi. They do manage to find a mechanic's number from a video they took earlier, but the only way to make the call is from an old payphone at a nearby shop.
And this is where they just completely descend into madness. They get trapped in this perfect loop of circular reasoning. See, to call the mechanic, they need a coin for the payphone. They realize the payphone box is full of coins. But to get a coin, they need a wrench to open the box. And where do they get a wrench? From the mechanic, who they can't call without a coin. It's perfect.
After finally, somehow, finding a coin and making the call, help is on the way. But the help they get is not what anyone expected, and definitely not what anyone would ever want in a crisis. Okay, let's be crystal clear. They called for a mechanic to fix their cars. The man who arrives thinks he's been called to a hospital. He's a medical compounder and immediately starts treating one of the cars like it's a human patient in critical condition. His diagnosis is, to put it mildly, unconventional. After checking the car's vitals by listening to the engine, he declares that its heart and pulse are fine. His conclusion? The car's mental health must be the problem, and they need to call a therapist for it. Just when you think the situation could not possibly get any more absurd, the story takes a sharp, genre-bending turn that absolutely no one saw coming. So as the fake mechanic walks away, he's just suddenly lifted off the ground and pulled into the night sky by some unseen force. The source of the haunting is finally revealed, and it has absolutely nothing to do with a tech-savvy, aesthetic-obsessed ghost in the house. Turns out, the threat was always outside. And then a rap song just kicks in out of nowhere explaining everything. The line on the slide reveals the truth. This ambly alien, the whole village is with us. The mechanic, and apparently everyone else they've met, are all aliens who have taken over the entire village. They weren't just haunted, they were in the middle of a covert alien invasion.
And this leaves us with one final provocative question. Were the flickering lights and the moving paintings really the work of a ghost? Or were the aliens just messing with them from the very start? It seems these friends didn't just fail at surviving one horror genre, they failed at surviving two of them at the exact same time.